I left my job at Christmas, and as a leaving present, as I'm a wire artist, they gave me some wire. So let's make something with it. So that's unwrapped. There's actually quite a bit here. So immediately I'm thinking I might try and make a butterfly. Never made a butterfly. So let's try and figure it out. So the first thing I'll do is make wings. So normally I make dragonflies. The wings like this. I'm thinking a butterfly would have a similar sort of wing, but we can make it this sort of size at the bottom and then bigger, wider at top. I might fold it in a bit so it's not so pointy. So first things first is count down 9 holes. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to cut as well, which is good. So the usual size dragonfly wings I make are 3 across. So we go 3 across. So that'll be the bottom wing. And then for the next one I think we want at least double the size. So I think we go 6. Maybe 7. Let's go 7. Let's go 7. Bit of making any chicken wire sculpture for me is taking off these little rubbish bits because they're sharp. So for this bottom wing, smaller one, we'll just put 2 bits together. Now you'd be better off using gloves this, but apparently I like to torture myself. So let's twist it together there. Twist it together here. And then we'll find the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just push them in like that. Just so we know where the middle is later and make life a lot easier. And then we will get the end bit here and we will just fold it down. Same on the other side, just fold it down. So it makes a nice rounded sort of shape. And then similar sort of thing, I'm thinking on the bigger one, we'll find the middle first though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll bring it together. Almost got the shape in like a bow tie. Now we could so we're kind of that, and that will come out the bottom. Like that. I think we do something quite similar to the top actually. Let's try it, see what happens. If it doesn't work, this video doesn't come out. Put them all together, give them a little twist. Pliers, stretch it out a bit, and just fold it down. And just fold it in. It doesn't have to be perfect. At the end of the day, it's made out of chicken wire. It's not a real life butterfly. But obviously, we want it to look the best we can. Same way we folded it on the other side. How does that look? If we do that there, and then that next to it there. Butterfly wings enough. Okay, so what we're going to do now is cross them over like this. And then we're just going to twist them together 2 times, 3 times until the top and the bottom are on the right sides. Actually, other than one side being bigger than the other, which I don't really understand how that's happened. I may have twisted them too much that way. Not quite in the middle, which then you just go back and readjust. You stretch them out to make it the right shape. That one there. Again, this bit doesn't have to be, it's not 100% secure because we're going to secure it properly in a minute. But again, we're just pulling it out now to get the right shape. There you go. I'd say that's a fairly successful butterfly wing. Now for the body. I have two bits of wire here which are roughly 45 centimetres, which I'm just going to fold them in half, which I still think is way too big actually, so let me think. It's not going to have legs. I'm not going to make these with legs. I'm going to make them so we have two bits of wire in the middle, right at the front, so it can attach to something. It will need two bits of wire for the antenna and two bits of wire for what are they called? For its eyes. But again, we don't want this to be too big, so the butterfly's body is massive. So if I fold it in half, it would be too small. We don't need this much. So let's think. We do it 3 bits and then we just cut it off. Actually. This, measuring with a ruler below me. So I have 3 bits of wire all folded, all roughly 45 centimetres. Which again, I think this will be too long, but we can just cut them. So we will hold them together at the end here, we're going to pinch them together. Now I have one other long piece of wire here, and this is I did 3 times 80, so 240 centimetres, which again I think this might be too long. So to start it, I'm going to make it quite similar to how I make my dragonflies, but rather than it being in sections, we're just going to go all the way along, and obviously it's not going to have such a long tail. So I'm just going to start it by wrapping it around, just with my fingers, and then finishing it with the pliers, just so it's nice and tight. Now, here's where you can do one or two things. You can wrap it around your hand, or you can get a trusty drill, not one that's too powerful, and just put it in the end like that, and tighten it on the end, so just like that. Very carefully and very slowly wrap it round, just like this. Now being very careful not to trap my fingers. Now with this you can get a really neat effect, but it doesn't really matter. So we need to go probably about where we are now, but obviously that's way too thin. So we're going to go back down to that one. Now the great thing, because we've got a bit in there, we actually want it to be thinner at the tail. So we're going to go up again. Let's work our way up just to make the body part a little thicker. So it's something like that, so it's a bit, there's like a gradual thickness. Now as you can see, this wire is way too long. So it's like a gradual thickness of the body. And now, it's probably the trickiest bit of this make will be attaching the wings. So we're going to put the wing just on its back to the top of it, and we're going to pull the wire round and through, if you can see that. And then we're kind of going to go round. I can't remember what it's like, almost like a figure of 8, but we're going to go round and across there, round, and go around a couple of times just to make sure it's nicely secure. But keep going. You can't really do this too much. You don't want the wings to be too high up either, otherwise it'd be too hard to secure. And just go around a few times just to make sure they're nicely secure, pulling tightly as you go around. Otherwise you end up with really loose bits of wire. And then eventually you'll end up at the top. So we'll sort out the wings properly in a minute. But for now, we're just going to put 2 bits of the wire, the 2 bits lowest, and they're probably the easiest, at the bottom. These will be what we use to attach to, say, a stick or like a fence or something. And I'm just going to trim these now, just so they're not so much in the way. And I'm just going to push them right to the back. And now I'm actually just going to push the wings down, just so again they're not in the way. And we're going to start doing the head now. I'm going to give it quite a cartoony large head. We've got a fair bit of wire. And I think it will look better. So when we think we're about halfway where we think the head's going to be, we're going to take the 2 uppermost pieces and they will become the antenna. So again, I'm just going to trim them just so they're a little bit easier to deal with. I'll trim them again later. So now you need to make a ball basically with this remaining wire on both sides of this antenna wire. Basically what I'm doing, I'm alterning. I don't know, I can't talk. I just make wire. I'm basically taking turns to go each side of the front and back of the antenna, and then hopefully it should make a round-ish shape going towards the front, just so it's not pointy in the middle. And when you end it, you should end up with a little bit left of this. Just fold it round and then maybe I'll poke it in somewhere, hopefully. And we're just poking it in. Right, now these bits here will be his eyes, which again, this is way too long, so basically I want it to be 3 finger lengths. So trim at the end of that. Because it actually cut kind of out. And then, so to make the eyes, we're going to separate them, 1 to each side like this. And then we're going to get your pliers, and we're just going to make it essentially a circle in the middle there. And we're going to hold it with pliers and we're going to wrap around. Have a firm grip with this hand and just wrap around and go all the way to the end. And then when you get to the end, it comes to the top, so the top's where the antennas are, and you push it up. And then same on the other side. And my children come home and dogs decide to go crazy here, so I'll finish this part of the video with a voiceover. So we are rolling up the other side of the eyes, just exactly the same as what we did with the first side. So So rolling all the way up and then pushing it up on the head to give it the 2 eyes look. And next for the antenna, we're going to trim them to a more suitable length, roughly like a finger. And then we will make a circle much like we did with the eyes. Just fold them over and then just do a little fold in the middle. And now, just to finish off, I will readjust the wings so they look more like a butterfly. Now this for me isn't 100% perfect, but then what is in life? I'm thinking about painting it. I'm not really sure how to do that yet, but if you've enjoyed the tutorial, I think it looks fairly good. Please subscribe, like and follow, and leave a comment. What colour should I paint it? Or should I paint it lots of colours? I'm not sure yet. Let me know in the comments. Goodbye.